Growing up in the United States, you hear over and over again that we have the cleanest drinking water in the world, we have the cleanest water, the cleanest air. And so you don't realize that you need to be worried.
Once PFAS ends up in our water, it eventually makes its way into our homes in our drinking water. That PFAS is going to accumulate in our bodies.
PFAS are associated with some kinds of cancers like kidney and testicular cancer, with reproductive harms like lower birth weights, lower sperm counts, some developmental harms, and even immune harms.
This was a study that we found from the United States Geological Survey where they talked about at least 45% of tap water could have one or more forever chemical in their supply from coast to coast. That is pretty crazy to me, okay? At least 45% of the nation's tap water is estimated to have one or more types of chemicals known as polyfluorinated alkali substances, or PFAS, or better known as forever chemicals. That is pretty bananas.
This morning, new research shows that bottles of water contain more plastic than previously thought. Researchers at Columbia University found that on average, 1 liter may contain 250,000 particles of plastics.
Exposure to radium levels, even low levels, may increase the risk of cancer development.
More than half of Americans could be drinking tap water tainted with a radioactive element. New research from the Environmental Working Group finds more than 170 million people are exposed to radium in their drinking water.
Doctors say that could increase the risk of cancer, and there is a way you can find out if you are impacted.
EWG collected data from public water systems around the country and analyzed 5 years of tests. Radium was found in all 50 states, and the group found 158 public water systems in 27 states reported radium in amounts that exceeded the federal legal limit.
Nobody has any idea whatsoever what is going in the water. Wow. And in fact, there are cases where they won't even know what to monitor. They don't know how to monitor it.
This is an article from People magazine where scientists are talking about discovering over 100,000 to 400,000 pieces of microplastics per liter of water. That's just crazy, okay? Look right here. With laser-powered microscopes, researchers analyzed samples from 3 brands of bottled water and discovered that a liter contained 110 to 400,000 pieces of plastic per liter. That's an average of about 240,000 particles of plastic that are getting into our bodies just from drinking water. I mean, come on, that's crazy.
You've probably heard about the water crisis in Flint, Michigan.
It's possible every single person living in Flint may have been exposed to lead through the city's contaminated water supply.
The state knew about it and did nothing. The water supply in Flint, Michigan has sparked outrage across the country.
In Canada, people are also unknowingly consuming dangerous amounts of lead from their drinking water. In some cities, lead levels were found to be comparable to those of Flint at the height of its water crisis.
Canadians are not being informed on when lead levels are high, not only in their homes, but in their schools and daycares.
Lead exposure in children has been linked to behavioral problems and a loss of IQ. In adults, it can cause high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney disease, and reduced fertility. Ongoing exposure to even low levels of lead can be toxic.
I would say up until the 1970s, a lot of our major cities were still using lead pipes and putting them into the ground.
In the 1970s, we started banning lead, which is why there has been a steady decline in lead blood levels since.
Lead is one that I think a lot of people thought was a solved problem, but it's not.
There are 2 ways lead is getting into people's drinking water. The first is that old lead pipes are aging. Water is naturally corrosive and causes pipes to break down over time, allowing lead to seep into people's water. Both Health Canada and the World Health Organization agree that there is no safe level of lead. In Prince Rupert, British Columbia, and 3 cities in Saskatchewan, the investigation found that average lead levels exceeded Health Canada's guideline.
Let's talk about tap water. And here I have to take a deep breath, not a deep gulp, but a deep breath, because in researching tap water and what's contained in tap water in different regions, not just in the US, but around the world, I confess the picture is a pretty scary one.